Hi, this is Steve at the Listening Post. One of the things I've noticed while writing these essays is how young a lot of these musicians are when they begin their professional careers. It seems like if you're going to have it, you're going to have it at an early age, and that probably means my boat left the port a long time ago. But today we're going to talk about Ty Curtis, a blues guitarist out of Salem, Oregon, who started his professional career right out of high school when he was 19 years old. Ty Curtis, I guess, is very popular up in the Pacific Northwest. He came down and did a tour of Northern California 2 years ago, and I caught him at this little blues club where I hang out, JJ's Blues in San Jose, and was amazed not only at how good they were, but how young they all were. And, typically a blues audience is going to be an older audience, and the musicians are going to be a little bit older. And, these guys look like kids up there, but, they had all the chops of anybody else who's ever played that club. I picked up some of their albums and couldn't be happier with them. I've picked up a lot of albums from, the club bands. I tend to hang out in the clubs more than the large arenas. I think by the time a band plays a large arena, you've missed the boat with them, and there's no intimacy in that kind of a performance. But the CDs from the club bands can be hit or miss. They're not always well produced, and I think when you're listening to a band in a club and you like them enough to pick up a CD, what you're hoping for is that the CD is going to come out sounding like the band sounded, and that's not always the case either. Either they're not well produced or stylistically they're different than what you saw on stage. But not in the case of Ty Curtis. He learned guitar by watching his father teach his older brother to play, and didn't play much guitar in high school. He was more into sports. But soon after graduation, he formed his band. And by the time he was 19 years old, he released his first album. It's called Stubborn Mind, and he produced it himself. It's a self-produced effort. He wrote all the songs, sang the lead, and great guitar player. I often bemoan the fact that a lot of the younger bands these days, don't really have a strong lead guitarist. I don't want to show my age, but there was a time when it seemed like that was a prerequisite for a band, that they had to have a good lead guitarist. That was the starting point of the band. And these days it doesn't seem to be as important. John Mayer is certainly an exception, and there's others. But the one thing you can always count on with a blues band is they're going to have a good guitar player. And I think that's part of the reason I like hanging out in blues clubs. I get my guitar fix that way. So I picked up his CD, and it can be a little bit dicey buying a CD from a club band because they're not always well produced. And, I think if you're sitting in the audience listening to a band play and you decide you like them enough to buy their CD, you're hoping that the CD is going to sound like the band sounded. And that's not always the case. But Ty Curtis certainly delivered with his first album. Produced it himself, and, it's got all the vitality that he had when he was up on stage at JJ's. Nice mix of styles. He does some ballads, does some blues rock, some Texas blues. This album was chosen to go to Memphis for consideration as best self-produced release of 2006. 2008, he released his second album, Down on My Luck. Both these two albums have a donkey motif. I'd love to know what that's all about. But they're both great albums. They would both fit in just fine on any radio programmer's playlists. I've had the good fortune of living here in San Jose and down in San Diego, where we had a couple of outstanding jazz stations that also had blues programs. KSDS down in San Diego in particular, 88.1, they start on Saturday night about 10 o'clock in the evening and play all through the night till Sunday morning, straight blues. And they stream on the internet. Also KCSM up here in San Mateo, they have a Friday night blues program, 91.1. They both stream on the internet. And I'm just saying that because these two albums self-produce, by this 19-year-old kid would fit in with anything that they play on their programs. They're both outstanding albums. Hank Shreve joined in 2008 on harmonica, and he plays right off the bat the first track, Cherry City Boogie. He's really wailing away. Also, the second album, they mix up the styles a little bit more. They've got some R&B, a little bit of funk, some late night chill out. He even closes the album out with an anthem out in the country. The disc was appeared on a number of 2009 top blues album lists. In 2009, Ty Curtis and his band took second place in the Blues Challenge in Memphis. The challenge started with more than 2,000 bands from 9 countries. 100 bands earned the right to come to Memphis to compete. 10 made it to the finals, and Ty Curtis's band was voted second place by a panel of judges made up of industry professionals. That got him national exposure, and one of the panelists, one of the judges, David Z., who had produced Prince, Etta James, and Johnny Lang, another great blues guitar player, took an interest in the band and offered to produce their third album, which came out in 2010, Cross That Line. This album seems to be going a little bit more for mainstream appeal. It's got the blues rock and it's got the Texas blues, but it's also got some adult contemporary tracks and a couple of kind of pop rockers on it. Great album though, once again very well produced. He's won several awards. In 2010, the Ty Curtis Band got the Muddy Award from the Cascade Blues Association for Best Contemporary Blues Act, and Cross That Line won the Best Northwest Recording. Curtis also took home the Curtis Salgado Male Vocalist Award. Curtis Salgado is another blues vocalist from the Pacific Northwest. He's won several other Muddy Awards, Best New Act in 2008, Best Regional Act in 2009 and 2011. Hank Shreve won Best Harmonica Player in 2009. Well, I don't want to belabor the point. I just wanted to bring attention to this great young artist. It's fantastic that there are young players out there keeping the blues tradition alive, and I just feel fortunate that I was able to catch Ty Curtis at one of the small clubs before he became too big for me, and I encourage you to check him out. If you like blues, if you like blues guitar playing, this may be the man for you. Once again, this is Steve at the Listening Post. Thank you for sitting in with me, and we will see you again next time.